Okay. Oh, um. I'm doing the thing.
Are you leading the thing? Are you
I guess.
leading the?
Welcome to the Geek podcast. This is Gabe, and I am joined by Jose and AJ. Say what's up, guys.
Goodbye.
Good morning. You're
Sentiment
also.
most of us have when we wake up not realizing that daylight savings has happened.
I was going to say this episode is also sponsored by lots of coffee. Sponsored by
Not on
coffee.
my end. I did not have enough time to make coffee.
Oh
Anyway, thank
man.
you guys for
Oh,
joining the show. I apologize if I still sound a little bit sleepy. I literally just woke up after hitting the snooze button, sort of accidentally or autonomously or just automatically, one of those three words, and falling right back to sleep and not waking up on time to record.
yeah.
But I appreciate you guys joining us. Please like, rate, share, and subscribe.
Hmm.
Okay. Leave us some reviews. All that stuff always helps us. And enjoy the show. So,
Indeed.
guys, it's been a minute since I've been a part of a geek out. So I think it's time that we geek out.
Let's geek out. Tell us what it's about.
Well, for those of you guys that are first time listeners, we're going to geek out on stuff. We're going to take turns and talk about whatever it is that we happen to be geeking out over. I am still a little bit fuzzy in my head, so actually I want to get past things off all to AJ. What have you been geeking out over?
Well, it's weird. I've actually, most of what I've been doing is Elden Ring, killing these bosses and finding more and more exploits. Well, I haven't really found any more exploits, but oh, they come and it's a thing. It's a process. The only other thing I've been doing also in terms of gaming, I went back to Skyrim for a little bit. And I only did it because Walt started restarted a character. So I was like, you know what? Why not? And it's been fun picking up Magicka Saber again and just completely tearing through anyone that comes my way. Good stuff. Um But aside from that, we have also been what the heck happened?
Blah, blah,
Watching
blah. That happened.
Vikings.
Vikings. Someone
Yes.
recently has been, a lot of people have actually recommended Vikings to me. Just, I don't know what it is. Apparently, I have this look of someone that would enjoy Vikings. But I've been recommended Vikings so much, and you guys should know. I've mentioned this a couple times before on past episodes, um, but I have like this fear of watching stuff that's overly recommended. So then I just end up not watching it just because I don't want to be disappointed.
Hmm.
And Vikings is one of them.
Yeah.
I know you. I know you gave into Squid Game. I know that was one of them. I haven't given into that
Yeah,
yet.
yeah, I did give into Squid Game. You haven't? Oh my god,
I haven't. I
you
haven't. My
have to
geek out.
watch it, dude.
My
You
geek out is
should.
something that I did give into, though. My geek out is something
Okay.
that I did give into. So the I saw after a while. Actually, we saw the myself and my fiance saw the most recent new season of Money Heist on Netflix, and that was a show that we kind of saw the hype about a couple of
Yeah,
years
actually, yeah,
ago.
that's another one too that I haven't watched because of the hype.
It's actually worth it, but I will say that the start of season 5, the first episode was good and fun and kind of like what the show is all about, which is it's a little bit of a ridiculous show. It's like as the title implies, it's about a bank heist or different heists, and it's actually a Spanish show. It's an all Spanish cast and it's in
Hmm.
Spanish. And I definitely recommend watching it in Spanish because the actors are so much better than the dubs. The dubs are terrible, but the most recent season, like the first episode was fun and like kind of like with the twists and turns that are like fun and kind of predictable. It's kind of like Spanish Michael Bay, kind of, but done well. Okay.
Mm.
But the second episode that we just saw was ridiculous. Like, and might have just jumped the shark, honestly, because like they feature a lot of action scenes and so the show's known for crazy action scenes and has the same issues that some other shows have, where there's a lot of bullets flying in the air and nobody gets killed or hurt. but this last episode might have taken it to extreme. Either way, we still enjoyed it, even though it was ridiculous. And I highly recommend that y'all check out Money Heist, like, because it's a really fun show. And if you're a fan of action and like crazy twists and hijinks, I would definitely check that out. And that's other than like 2K22 basketball. That's like what I've been doing lately. And Attack on Titan, of course, but I talked about that way too much, so I'm gonna skip on that one. Let's skip on that.
Well, I am also a fan of Norse mythology. So, does Vikings have any of that Norse mythology?
Oh yeah. It's not like Odin is gonna show up and say, "Yo, Vikings, you got to go fight these Anglo Saxons," but it has nuance, is what
Does it
I'm
have
gonna
like
say.
mystical? Does it have mystical elements to it? Like in the sense of like, okay, yeah. So they, the gods don't come down, but does it? Is like Norse mythology kind of just like a hinted part of it, or
I would say that at least the way the show is presented to me, it's up to interpretation,
mm-hmm.
but it's more so hinted at.
Mm.
It kind of plays with that.
How far are you into the show?
We just finished season 1.
Oh, okay. But it's been running for a minute though, no? Isn't it
Yeah,
more like
so
how many seasons
here's
are out there?
so there are 6 seasons, but then the show ended. Oh, it's only recently that Netflix picked it up, and now there is a new series called Vikings Valhalla.
I think that's what I'm thinking of. I might have seen something regarding that and seeing the whole Valhalla thing kind of made me think Norse mythology and all that. That
Yeah.
sounds dope. How's the action on it?
It's
Well,
good.
what's your
It's
favorite
good.
part about the show? What is it exactly that kind of kept you seated?
So honestly, it's just the character interactions. Like I just like how each person, like, it's very clear people want different things. Like what's his name? Main character Ragnar. Um
Ragnar?
Ragnar Lothbrok.
Damn. The Norse have some dope ass names.
Yeah. He's clearly a very ambitious person, and it shows him what he does. His brother Rolo is all about just killing things. And it's very clear when he wants to go killing things and what his goals are, even though his goals do change over the course. Well, it's not that they change, it's more that he comes to realize more of his other goals than the goals that are more temporary, I guess. So it's very interesting the way they play with that. And that's really why I've become invested in it. It's just this is one of those shows where the characters really carry the show and is really good. Like
Mm,
I was kind of on the fence at first, but now that the season's over, I'm like, okay, we should start
you need to
season
kind of
2
keep going.
now. We need to start it now.
Maybe yeah, maybe that'll hopefully be the next thing that I actually binge. Um, I well, I've been binging something which is going to be my geek out also. Okay, I did get wind of I got a little bit of a sandy wind of what Jose's geek out might be. So I think that maybe we should save that one for the very end. Okay, but I've I've just been geeking out over another mm, mm, just wiping away this these little uh swoon worthy tears in my eyes. I've been geeking out over another K drama. Oh god, I can't believe I have to say that on air again. So if you guys remember, I geeked out. It might have been actually my last geek out. I was geeking out over a drama called Hometown Cha Cha Cha,
Oh
which is
yeah.
a very lovey dovey, um, you know, romance kind of funny drama. I've recently gotten really into K dramas on Netflix. And to scratch the itch of that show, I've been like really searching. I've tried out a few different other K dramas and or K comedies and stuff. Um, but uh, I found this other one called Startup. And it's a pretty cool show because it's not just like a straight up drama. It's it's got like inspirational tones to it. It's got, you know, it's for lack of well, not lack of a better term, it's how it's being described. It's swoon worthy.
Mm-hmm.
They got like very specific, I'm seeing patterns in these K dramas on like how they
Mm.
get people to like, you know, consider it a tearjerker for I'm not saying that I had any tears, okay? But, I can
Oh.
understand it, okay? But no, the show's pretty good. It's the story of these two sisters who um when they were young their parents divorced. One because the dad was too
Mm.
ambitious and the mom wanted to have security, which is kind of like a dilemma that a lot of people face. So they ended up splitting up and one girl went with the very ambitious but always broke dad, and then the other girl went with the mom who ended up finding herself a CEO of a major like tech company to marry and all that. And
Okay.
then the show kind of takes place in the future, where or I guess in the present, the show's timeline, where the girls have now grown up, and one has grown up kind of struggled. Her dad actually, is not in the picture anymore, and she's been raised by her grandma the entire time. While the other girl's been,
Oh.
living her life all the way around the world. She's a CEO of a tech company herself under her stepdad, and got all the money in the world. And the question on both of their minds is did I make the right decision to go with like mom or dad, you know so that stuff is kind of like touches the heart. But
Mm-hmm.
the girl that went with the dad, there's a couple other little tidbits that really intensifies the drama. The grandma feeling sorry for the girl, um feeling sorry for the little girl that her best friend, her sister, ended up going away at the time when she was younger. Um, she wanted to give her granddaughter a best friend, so she met this pretty savvy guy who was down and out and needed a place to stay. So he ended up staying with her, and in return, or not in return, but the way that grandma, thought about it, like, hey, you can repay me by being a pen pal to my granddaughter. So he's a pen pal to her granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and just like every time she's going through something tough, she writes to him, and then he writes back like, really like inspirational things that are gonna help her get through all the struggles that she's dealing with her dad not being around, her mom not being like going with someone else, her sister like leaving her, all these stuff, all these things, and he's always there to kind of help her work through it and just kind of take care of her, make her feel better, and so on and so forth. Fast forward 15 years later, uh the girl now wants to sort of get revenge on her sister, or prove to her sister that she's been like living a good life. So she lies to her sister and says,
Oh.
oh, I'm doing great. You remember that kid that I used to write to and all that stuff? Well, we're gonna both start a company together. So then her sister's like, oh, really? I want to meet him. Bring him to this networking event that I'm doing, you know?
Oh.
And so now there's
Okay.
a problem because she's never actually met the pen pal. Not only
Oh.
that, but the pen pal is a super genius at the time of the note taking and all that. Because the guy that, and I know it might be, you give me some looks. I know it's a little hard to follow for a moment just because I'm explaining it terribly under lack of sleep and coffee. But the pen pal, when he was choosing a name for himself or the fake himself, he looked at a newspaper, and in the newspaper was a cover of this young kid who was a mathematic Olympian. He won the mathematic Olympics. At like he's the
Oh.
youngest person to ever win the mathematic Olympics. So he just chose his name and stuff.
It's a mathlete.
He's a mathlete, yeah. He chose his name as his name for like the letters and stuff. So she grew up all this time thinking that like, oh wow, like this guy's like this mathematical genius and so on and so forth.
Oh no.
So you have the setup of the dilemma where she needs to meet. She wants to make sure that she can save face and prove to her sister and her mom that she made the right decision, that she hasn't struggled and all that stuff. But now she has to show up to this networking event without this fake guy that she made up, or that she's never met. And so the the guy that was the pen pal, he seeks out the mathlete and convinces him to like, hey, just make believe, read all these letters and make believe you were the one that wrote them, and go show up and support her. He does that, and that's where now
Okay.
the string of lies creates the rest of the show. Because now he has to keep up appearances, and now the guy that wrote the letters is actually in love with her, but he can't tell her that he's in love with
lot
her.
of setup. That's a
Well, I mean, well. Just be warned: if you ever decide to watch a K-drama, there's 16 episodes, but they're all about an hour and 20 each.
Is that the first episode?
That is most of the first episode and a part of the second episode.
Okay. Because drama, I have no problem with dramas. I was gonna say like I saw this show on Netflix way back when. Speaking of Spanish shows, called Velvet, that was like a Spanish soap opera about this family that owns like a department store in Spain in like the 50s, and like the son's dad like dies, or the father dies, the son takes over the company, and the son falls in love with one of the seamstresses who's like one of the poor people that works in the store. So like, you know, has super Spanish like soap opera vibe. So there's no issues here with like K-dramas or anything like that. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, so it's funny because the thing is, it's not like this is the elements. The thing is, I love shows that have really good balance. And when it comes to like, you know, something like this, like there's a really good balance between heavy human tones and emotions and comedy, as well as very, very good cinematic production for what it is. You know, there are like certain things about K-dramas, you know, the settings, the colors that they use, the lighting and all that stuff. So I'm a sucker for all that stuff. But mostly a good balanced show. And there's like a lot of drama that happens on the show because so just to surmise it, she ends up they all end up applying to this Google like company in Korea, where essentially they apply to become a startup in that company. The company does a 3-day hackathon to get them funded. And so you know, it's I would really, really recommend watching this show if you want to be inspired to do something outside of like all like the love triangle stuff going on. It's just like a really inspirational show. It reminds me a little bit of like social network, where it's a show about people that have like an idea but don't know how to make that idea happen. But through like, you know, hard work, being inspired, and just like pushing through all kinds of negativity, still make their idea happen, still create the idea and make their idea come to fruition. So highly recommend it, highly bingeable, because you will want to hit next episode at the end of every single episode. They are the masters of cliffhangers.
Where is it available to watch?
All of it is all on Netflix.
On Netflix. All right. So,
Netflix.
All right. So let's I think we should get to the topic of the day.
Yeah, to the rest of you.
Topic of the day. The top of the day. Well,
the top of the day.
Top of the day. Like, that's basically what I'm geeking out
about.
So
I alluded to this earlier. I alluded to like, you know, a wave of sandy wind coming from from
Oh, that's what
someone.
that
Yeah.
was. Oh wow.
Well, we're revisiting a very specific place.
A sandy planet? Is that where we're
Yeah, Jose.
the sandy planet of Tatooine? I mean, I guess that's where this show is going to take place, and we're
Well,
talking
What? I
yeah.
thought we were talking about Dune.
Dune. Oh yeah, I
What?
mean, I don't know nothing
That's
about
a sandy planet too.
I don't know about Dune
Are we
too.
talking about Spice? Do you think Spice is gonna make an appearance on this show too?
Oh God, I hope not. I hope not.
Spice makes an appearance on both of those franchises, but
Please no.
we're talking about Obi-Wan specifically here,
There
and
we go.
the trailer and the implications
Oh man.
of said trailer and the implications possibly of said people posting said trailer. So I want to go into let's go into some quick impressions of the trailer. Wolfie, I know that you might have to head out, so I want to get to what you think of things first. Let us know what you thought of Obi-Wan, the trailer so far. Any thoughts that you have on it? Maybe any theories?
Well, all right. So here's the thing, right? Because I am the most recent fan to get burned. I think, despite the fact that like I do enjoy a lot of Boba Fett,
Mhm,
more so than a lot of people in general. I feel like have
mhm,
enjoyed it. I do feel burned by the promise. When we
mhm,
first saw the Boba Fett trailer, when we saw the first post credit scene of Boba Fett taking over Jabba the Hutt's throne,
mhm,
I think that like just the little tidbits gave us like so much promise, and then there being some letdown on the show. And so
mhm,
when I saw the trailer, emotions super high, super fast, goosebumps all over, especially with that one song that they put in the trailer. Like instantly it just recalls to like the first time that I saw Revenge of the Sith in the theater, with a Duel of the Fates playing and that final battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan. Now since I've recalled that and the emotion that I had when I first saw that fight scene, that final battle between them in Revenge of the Sith, um, now my expectations are there.
Uh,
Nice. All right,
So
so
nice or not
high.
nice, I don't know, because is it gonna suck now, or is it gonna live up to it? I don't know. I'm so afraid right now.
Well, I mean, to interject very quickly, the reason that I'm still excited about this, in spite of any like recent failures, and there have been some successes, and there were some great things about the Book of Boba Fett, even though again overall I wasn't overly satisfied, or I wasn't entirely satisfied with it. Um, like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan can do no wrong. It didn't matter what he did in any of the prequel films, and I know AJ, you have a higher opinion of it because those are your Star Wars movies than maybe some of us older Star Wars heads have of the prequel trilogy. Not that it was
Mhm.
bad, but like there was no, again, Ewan McGregor did no wrong. His Obi-Wan was
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely not.
It was
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
perfect.
absolutely perfect.
that's
So
true.
it's
Very
hard
true.
for them to mess that up. It's hard for them to mess that up. Even if the show is not great, you know that he's going to be awesome and he's going to be
Yeah,
entertaining.
yeah,
And that's
that's
why I
true.
think,
I mean, Ewan
like,
McGregor
yep.
is a marquee actor.
And in the role, I mean, he's iconic. He's a meme, right? Hello there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Oh my
this
God,
is
that's a funny story. I'm so sorry, but I just have to say this one thing.
uh-huh.
When the official Twitter for that show opened up, guess what the very first tweet was?
hello there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, it's so good.
Exactly.
How good? How good would it have been to have like the very first scene that we see of him like in the trailer to like we see a few scenes of like the desert Tatooine and a few other things here and there,
Mhm.
and the first scene that we see of like full shot of him, he just drops down from the shadows and just stands up, doesn't have to say the hello there, but we know what it is, we know what it means. Like all the fans would have been like, yep, he's back.
Yeah, it's like the Spider-Man point, like that we got in
Yeah,
No Way
yeah,
Home,
it's
where
gonna be a legendary meme. It's
it,
forever.
it wasn't that, but we knew that it was that in the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts or theories on who else might appear in this show?
Well, being that Ray Park has tweeted quite a bit about it,
Mhm.
I feel like Maul is definitely going to make an appearance. He is alive during this time.
Not doing well, but he's alive.
Not doing well, but he's alive. So I don't know what
And I have
in
problems with that.
how.
I'll
my
get.
my issues are that that they specifically brought back uh rebels, right?
Yeah,
No, yeah.
or what rebel? What you mean? Brought the show back?
What was the
What
final
happened?
season? No, Clone Wars.
Oh, Clone Wars. Yeah.
No, okay.
And all that stuff like kind of just brings back the it like whether it's Clone Wars or Rebels, all of it just kind of brings back the fact that they already faced each other, you know, and we've seen that end already. Like, there isn't, it's not like they're gonna retcon that, right? Like they can't possibly bring them back alive a
I
second
don't
time.
know. They're gonna do some pretty interesting retconning in this.
Well, this would be would this be
This
after he passed? He
no,
died in that show? No, right? He
no,
would
no,
still
no,
be
no, no.
alive, like you said. So they could have him interact with other characters. Imagine him interacting with Darth Vader at some point. I mean,
Yeah,
he doesn't
I don't
have to
know.
interact with
I don't know.
Obi-Wan, right?
I mean, Darth Vader would have killed him, probably.
Maybe they'll fight. Maybe he'll try to kill him, and maybe Maul will get away. That'll be a
I think in
new
the
piece of
fights, I think in
canon.
the comics,
Might be
in the
fun.
timeline, in the comics, Maul does fight Vader, and he, loses like
Bad, I'm
terribly.
sure, but that would
Yeah.
still be fun to see in live action.
And it's just one of those parts of the story that kind of expand on Maul. Um, I think, damn, I don't remember too much. I
I
remember
would.
reading about it. I gotta look it up again. But I thought that, like, I believe I read something along the lines of where like that's one of those events that kind of makes Maul who Maul is, in the sense that he hates the Sith at this point and what they turned him into, and that had something to do with it also.
I would love to see that because I would like to see how Maul, even with his athleticism, gets overpowered by Vader's pure like force ability and power and strength, even though he's not as athletic and quick. Uh, so I would love to maybe see that in live action. Like Wolfie, it would be cool maybe, right, if it was like the MCU where they pull from comics and other places to maybe reassemble it into something live action and canon.
Yeah, I mean that that would be great if they didn't already kind of, again, like we were talking about this through IG, through Instagram or group chat.
Mhm.
But it just sucks because it's like, all right, we're gonna not canonize legends, un- rather uncanonize legends, and then pick and choose what we feel like we want to use. Um, you know,
Yeah.
because there's plenty of stories there that I think, you know, are perfectly fine the way they are. Maybe you could change them a little bit for film, but I don't think that it was necessary to to uncanonize the books and expand the universe, the legends, and all that. So
Yeah.
anyway, those are my thoughts on the trailer. I did love the trailer. I feel like, a lot of Disney's budget is going to be in this show. Um, so
We thought
um,
that about Boba Fett too. Just gonna put that right there.
we, we did, but I feel like this trailer alone is, I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. See, I don't want the failure of the promise. You know,
I hope that
that's
they'll
how I
do
feel.
better. I mean, I don't know
But
who's
those are my
directing
thoughts.
or who the showrunner is on this one, but we'll see. We shall see. AJ, what about you? Same question. Any cameos, appearances, theories, thoughts that you have from watching the trailer or just from your Star Wars head?
Well, I am like, well, probably not as much as Gabe, but as much as I liked the trailer,
Hmm.
I am veritably, what's it? Veritably afraid for this show.
Why? Same way that for the same reason that the Book of Boba Fett ended up being
Yeah, like
not
Boba
great.
Fett
Hmm.
was supposed to be one of those characters who was quote unquote untouchable.
Hmm.
Like if you messed up his show, that's a very egregious thing to do.
Hmm.
They still found a way to botch that,
They
in my
did.
opinion, very terribly.
They did. I'm not as angry about it as you are, but I can see where you're coming from.
And now to see, I've heard the rumblings about Obi-Wan, and now there's a possible chance that, so
What rumblings
just
do you mean, sir?
rumblings like the rematch of the century, quote unquote,
Right?
where Obi-Wan will, in this show, be facing off against Darth Vader. Clearly, very clearly, much before the appointed time.
Before their final showdown in
New Hope.
the Star Wars: A New Hope, right?
Yeah.
So what would happen in that kind of fight, right? Like, I mean, you would think that Obi-Wan would lose that fight, right? Or it would be a draw, if anything.
But not
But
even that.
are
If he
you?
finds him on Tatooine, like if
Yeah,
Darth Vader finds him on Tatooine, it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna leave and cut my losses. It's not like we were purging entire Jedi
it's like,
like
yeah, your kid's right there.
half a year before. Like the,
I think the possible failure, and like this kind of ties to what you're saying, is if they don't adequately explain how Anakin has no idea where his children are, or that he has children, or that he has twins, even though they clearly show that he has some inkling of an idea by the time we get to Return of the Jedi, that he has a bunch of kids, at least Luke, he knows, right? And for him to never find them, like you said, if he finds Obi-Wan somehow, but maybe part of the show takes place somewhere outside of Tatooine, and that's where we're going to have that explained. I don't know. What do you think?
well, there is kind of a canonical well, I'm not sure if it's canonical anymore. It should be canonical. But there is a whole thing where Darth Vader knows if he has kids or not.
Right.
Because one of the first things he does after becoming Darth Vader is in the comics, he goes to Naboo and completely sets it on fire just to get to Padme's body,
Cool.
only to find that she has the full stomach, which to him would imply that the kids are dead along with her.
Okay.
Or a kid, because they never said, at least to each other, that they were expecting twins.
Right.
When Padme was discussing this with him in Revenge of the Sith, it was always kid, singular.
There's a little bit of a silly, to me, like, plot hole. I haven't seen them yet, but I saw one of them. But this is kind of getting slightly off topic, but I will get right back to it. I saw a YouTube series on a channel. I can't recall the channel, and for those who recall it, please, shout it out in whatever comments for this post. But um, like, advanced sci-fi civilizations that are really dumb, and like, it is interesting. You would consider that they have like space flight and all of this other stuff. Like, how would they not know that she's gonna have twins? Even, because we can tell that in the modern day with modern medical technology. Uh, so I don't know if that's sort of a Star Wars plot hole, but whatever. It's silly.
Maybe they wanted it to be a surprise, but then by the time they get to what's that planetoid that they go to in Revenge of the Sith? Not Moss, it's Mon something. It starts with an M. Anyway, the asteroid station. Then they go. The robot goes. We got to do it quickly. It's twins, and they're like, "Wait, she's having twins." Well, yeah, you didn't know. So maybe it was kind of one of because her whole pregnancy was kind of a secret too.
you know,
That's also another thing.
there were robots there, though. You figure like one of those robots would be making sure that the baby is okay, and be like, wait a minute. There's more
Oh,
than one. Or maybe the robots didn't tell nobody. They just kept it a secret to themselves and didn't even tell Padme or Anakin. I don't know. Doesn't
all
matter.
right.
That's the least important part of the story here. And like I said, that was just a silly aside. Um, so you're concerned that they're gonna mess this up, I
I'm
guess,
very
as a result of that.
concerned.
Was there anything that you liked, or anything that you were excited about from the trailer, or anything that you still might be excited to see, even if the show itself doesn't necessarily live up to the billing? Because we are going to watch it, right? We have to
Yeah.
watch it. We have to
So
give it a
here's,
chance. Yeah.
so here's the thing. When I first heard Duel of the Fates roll,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, come on!" Like, you knew I was gonna like that. God damn it!
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was hook one. Hook two. I don't know, just kind of exploring the idea of a very clearly defeated Obi-Wan is interesting to me. Like exploring a very clearly defeated Luke was one of the things that was interesting to me in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So
As divisive as that was overall, yeah, I agree. That was a cool aspect of it.
yeah, so I'm interested to see what this iteration of Obi-Wan has in store for us. The other thing that kind of piques my interest, even though, okay, you know what? I'm going to start this. I'm going to say this right now. I get that, like with Cad Bane,
Hmm.
the Grand Inquisitor looks very different in Rebels. And that's
Hmm.
been the main clamor. But we also have to realize that his species, not just in Rebels, looked massively different even in the movies.
Yeah. So,
So when I say that I still need to get used to his appearance because he looks puffy, it's a well founded argument.
oh, you agree with the haters on this one instead of the Cad Bane? Well, you didn't mind the Cad Bane differences,
After a
right?
while, I had it had to grow on me. But
Okay.
like Grand Inquisitor looks way too puffy, in my opinion.
Isn't that like a consequence of like the art styles of the shows though in comparison to
No,
like
no,
real
because
people?
in Revenge of the Sith, his people were really thin too.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know.
Utapau, that scene. We need your best fighters. All right, Obi-Wan, we got you. Those
Me-
guys are the same race as the Grand Inquisitor.
Well, the Grand Inquisitor is all like evil and I don't know, like a ruler or trying to rule the galaxy, right? So maybe he's like an old emperor and he just like eats more than everybody else because he's rich and evil. I don't know. Maybe you'll get used to it. Maybe I don't know. I mean, the appearance of some of these characters is obviously going to be very different if they appear from like uh, comics or cartoons or something like that. Anyway, uh, I did want to speak to the point that you made about this being a defeated Obi-Wan because I read something recently where I think Kathleen Kennedy or somebody else commented on how the show was even more bleak than it ended up being.
Yeah, so we got a nice little slip here from unnamed sources, but
Right.
originally the like you said, the original scripts for Obi-Wan were very dark. Oh
Hmm.
boy. Yeah, like
I wonder why they changed that. I think that's my concern because it's it's almost painfully obvious if this is a show that they've been working on for so long, right? I think they said that they've been trying to get this off the ground since the sequel trilogy started. They were thinking of getting this off the ground with all of the other like Han Solo and Rogue One, with all the other like revisiting of the original characters. So you figure maybe the reason that it was bleak and then they changed the tone was because of the backlash to the Last Jedi, and that's what worries me. The
uh,
correct the overcorrection because of the Last Jedi gave us the Rise of Skywalker. I
oh
hope that we don't
god.
get something like that to occur here too, right?
No.
I know I'm being a little cynical, but that's my worry. Even though I'm excited about this, and Obi-Wan is the show that I'm most excited about since of all of this stuff, over Han Solo, over Rogue One, over anything that's come out recently. In terms of the characters that I wanted to revisit, like once the first moment that somebody said years ago that there were thoughts of bringing Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan, I was like, let's go. Like, so this to me, this is like my Book of Boba Fett for Wolfie.
I,
Yeah.
that just added to my worries. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fully enjoy this now.
I'm glad I was able to comfort you. I'm glad I was able to make you feel better.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know. In spite of all that, I'm still excited about it. I'm still excited to see where it goes because like I said, this is one of the stories that I've been waiting to see the resolution of. Like I joked about earlier, like I want to know how the heck Darth Vader didn't find his kids. How did Anakin not know where any of them were and decide not to pursue them until they were like 20 years old, for like 20 years? Like what explains that? Rogue One found a way to turn a little moment and a little plot hole about the Death Star, how the Death Star has such an obvious and silly weakness in The New Hope. They found a way through Rogue One to turn that into something cool, right? Because what was it? Her dad like did that on purpose so that the rebels could take out the Death Star, right?
Yep.
I have hope like that for whatever reason. I don't know who the showrunners are on this, but like it's not Robert Rodriguez, so I think we'll be okay.
Oh,
It's
thank
not gonna be.
goodness.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be Obi-Wan Spy Kids. So I think we're gonna be okay. And if they're calling this bleak, I think that it still could be good, even if they don't go like the Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker route. They've done better with things like the Mandalorian and things with like even Grogu and characters like that, with certain characters, in finding a way to like make these fates that are going to end up being like darker ones kind of work, without making it too Last Jedi dark that I guess everyone's gonna have a problem with. And even though you and I enjoyed that, so I'm still excited about that, and I'm excited to see if they do squeeze in like a Darth Maul cameo or something like that, which
I don't. I don't want that.
I know
I
Walt
don't
will
want that.
probably want that. You don't want that at all?
I know Walt wants Maul to be there. I don't want that.
You wouldn't want to see him even like interact with the other characters? What if he
No.
doesn't fight anybody? You don't want
No.
to see what he was doing at this time at
What
all?
he was doing is he was with Ezra Bridger. That's what he was doing.
Okay, so what if they show that? I don't know
But
if that.
why why
I
do
don't
we
know.
need that? We already got that. Like at that point, it's just, oh hey, look, now we're making it live action, totally original.
Okay, all right.
I,
So
I'm not down with that. I'm
that's
not.
exactly the time period where he would be doing that. All right.
All right.
So
Well, actually, no. You know what? I will actually take that back, to be honest, because by the time Maul goes to face Obi-Wan with
mhm,
Ezra Bridger in tow,
mhm,
Obi-Wan is looking a lot like he does in New Hope. So you know what? I do take that back. But if you still add him in this show,
mhm.
that still breaks the canon because Maul has been clearly looking for Obi-Wan for a massively long time
No, that's what I'm saying. But like,
before.
what if they don't have him and Obi-Wan interact? What if he interacts with another character, like a Darth Vader or somebody else? Like Wolfie said, apparently, and we would have to clarify this. Apparently, around this time, they do actually have a conflict. And I know that again, you're worried about, oh, it's just in live action, but I mean, that would be something that would be cool to see in live action, no, if done right. And if it adds to the story in some way, and in the way that maybe it adds something to Darth Vader's appearance on this show, because that's also a question mark for us, right? We need to
I,
find a way and a reason for him to be in this, because he shouldn't know where Obi-Wan is, and he shouldn't know where anybody is. But if we have him interact with other characters, and then some of the interactions take place off of Tatooine, and you have somebody like a Darth Maul, where it makes some sense for his character to have interacted with Darth Vader around this time. Are you still not on board with that at all?
no, I'm not,
All right.
because
All right.
Maul doesn't make sense to be in this show, to be honest. Like, the whole reason, like, in the comics, Darth Vader didn't have the Inquisitors. He has the Inquisitors now to do this crap. The only conceivable way I would see Maul even remotely working with Darth Vader
Mhm.
would be to find Obi-Wan. But he already has the Inquisitors. And we know how Palpatine feels about Maul. So Darth Vader would, in all likelihood, not just kill him. He'd be like, hey, you're the guy that had a beef with my master all those years ago. You know what? I may not have much reverence for him, but just because it'd probably be fun, I'll try to kill you.
But he fails. But no, I'm not going to push you on this point any further. Is there I guess last time I'll ask this, is there anybody that you would want to see from the canon in this show besides the people that have already been mentioned that are obviously going to be in the show, which is Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
The only character who I think would be somewhat interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and I say this
Mm-hmm.
very loosely,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat interesting, would be Cal Kestis, and that's it.
Why do you say that? What interaction would you want to see, or what part of the story would you want to see them play in this show, possibly? I guess, well, with the
I
Inquisitor also
mean,
being another character from the canon included here, right?
like again, yeah, that's his whole thing. He was running away from the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wouldn't be very the most satisfying to see, like it doesn't even need to be like he's fully there. Like they can just make some sort of offhanded comment like oh well you hear about that guy that raided our compound the other day? We should probably go get to finding him too. No, no, no. Darth Vader has another assignment for us now. Some crusty old dude he wants us to find, see if he's still alive.
Hmm.
Like something like that.
Or
But
what if Obi-Wan helps him to get further away, and in some way he helps Obi-Wan with whatever his quest is?
mm, but then see, here's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to become the Obi-Wan and X character show. I want it
Yeah.
to be the Obi-Wan show. Cuz that's what happened to Boba Fett
Mm-hmm.
and part of what made it so bad. It became not about Boba Fett.
Well, you know what? I think in the end that we might not have to worry about that at all. Now that I'm thinking about an article that we both read recently, right? Because there's that article that they mentioned where the entire first episode is essentially just Obi-Wan sitting around a campfire and, like,
Good.
I guess doing
Good.
whatever Obi-Wan does in the sands of Tatooine and just letting Ewan McGregor do his thing. So if it's like that, which to me is closer to the good parts of the Book of Boba Fett, the flashback scenes, where there were moments where you let the characters just be the characters instead of having them fight for respect or shoot people or forget that they have rancors in the middle of massive battles, you could you could have more of those character moments that we've all been waiting to see from Obi-Wan and from Ewan McGregor. So let's hope that the first episode is truly what they say it is, and that the show continues down that thematic path. And hopefully Grogu doesn't show up on this show, because there's rumors of
Oh,
that too.
please no.
I had to end this on one last note to kind of like make you cry a little bit. I'm sorry.
Oh my
I'm just teasing.
goodness.
I'm just teasing.
But like um shoot. I just had something in my head. Oh God.
Related to Grogu
Oh,
or
this
Obi-Wan?
is no
Yes.
Obi-Wan, yeah.
Yes.
Cool flashback scenes would be stuff we may not necessarily have seen before in Clone Wars. Like I would like at least a few flashbacks of him and uh Christopher Haydenson as Anakin Skywalker proper
Or
during the Clone Wars.
Christian Haydenson. Oh, but like, okay, so some moments. Yeah, actually, that would make a lot of sense too for the
And
story.
he's there too.
Yeah,
And he can look like himself.
yeah, you can look like normal, and plus that'd be brilliant. That's what they have to do for the show, right? Because there has to be maybe all right, this is a weird comparison, but I'm going to make this one. It could be a great show if they use kind of like the model and jump off of it from the beginning of X-Men Origins Wolverine, where they have him and Sabretooth like going through all those wars, and that was what we wanted to see more of. So turn this into that. You have like an episode or two. I don't know how many episodes this is, but you could devote like a quarter of this show to some interactions with him and Anakin Skywalker, not Darth Vader, from the Clone Wars, in flashbacks with Obi-Wan in the desert, sitting around a campfire. Give me a couple episodes of that, and then depending on how many episodes we're going to get overall, then you could bring it into the present storyline. Again, we're on a slippery slope here because it seems like it might be a little bit like how Book of Boba Fett worked out conceptually and thematically, but this I think can be done better, and this is kind of how Book of Boba Fett should have been done in the first place. Let's hope that that's what it kind of turns out as, and that it's done well, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
I'm honest. My faith is low in it. I have to say, I'm sorry.
So
I
wait a
want to
minute.
believe it, but I really can't bring myself to believe it right now.
Well, it comes out in 2-ish months, a little over 2 months, right? May 25th,
Yeah.
2022. We're getting the first episode of Obi-Wan after the first trailer. So I'm cautiously excited for this one, but we'll see how it turns out.
We will see.
Alrighty. Let's end her off there. Thanks all y'all for joining us on this episode of the Get Geek podcast. We really appreciate y'all joining us once again. As a reminder, as always, please like, rate, share, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms, on the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the TikToks, and whatever else you got in terms of social media. Look up Get Geek Podcast or hashtag Get Geek Podcast to find all of that. And give us a review on Apple Podcasts, please. That is one of the best ways to support one of your favorite podcast crews. And yeah, I guess there's nothing left to say other than, well, maybe a couple of things left to say. And one of them is, hello there. And the other is, stay geeky, my friends.